Hi. This is Mrs. Stitches. My name's Sheila. Today is February 27th, 2020, and this is take 2 of episode number 11. Ooh, that's a little crooked. Had some issues, been having some issues. So last episode, I was going to add some other videos, do some editing, etc. But I have sometimes problems taking my videos from my phone, transferring them into the computer's fine, but then when I try to put them into my video editor, it doesn't take them. It'll take some and it won't take others, and I'm not really sure why. I can spend a lot of time being frustrated, and so in the end, I just uploaded to YouTube. And I might start doing that all the time because I think it's going to be saving me some grief. So I'm not going to be editing, and I'm not going to be, or I'm going to try this for right now because this is taking up a full afternoon. I just finished videotaping, and my camera or my phone memory was too full. And so it ran out of room. And what I realized was, even though I threw things into the trash, I never emptied my trash. So I finally emptied my trash, and I should be fine now. Looks like I got tons of room. So everything's a go, and this should work. If I can move it into video editor, I will try it once. If it doesn't work, then it's just going straight into YouTube, no editing. It's a lot easier not editing. So, take 2. Let me find... I should have gotten a little bit prepared, but I think actually I can do a better job take 2, because the first one I kept running out of time on my video, and so I had to do all these little bits and pieces. It was pretty choppy. And so, hi everyone. As of today, I have 327 subscribers. Welcome and thank you, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with me. I promise this won't be too long or too crazy, but it'll be hopefully enjoyable. Hopefully. I really appreciate you being with me. So I have a theme for this Flosstube. It's mistakes, because I've done some mistakes, and I've come to terms with mistakes. In some ways, not always, but in some ways I've come to terms with mistakes, and I'm learning to embrace and face the mistakes. But there's something I'm not quite ready to face, and that is winter. We have winter here, and I grew up on the West Coast, and from about age 5 to I think around about 11, I was in Seattle, and then from 11 to my 20s, I was on Vancouver Island. And Vancouver Island and Seattle are very similar weather systems. Winter, you get some snow, but not very much. It's usually wet, it's slushy, blah, blah, blah. And I grew up wanting snow, loving snow. I used to always sit at the window and look out at the street light and see, is it snowing yet? Is it snowing yet? Is that rain or is it snow? I remember specifically looking to see the rain turn into snow under the light. And as soon as it snowed, I would get my boots on and I'd go out for a walk in the snow. It was so quiet, so bright, so beautiful. I remember one Christmas, our family wasn't really religious, but we always went to Christmas Mass. And I must have been about 8 years old. And we were in Christmas Mass, and I fell asleep, I guess, during Christmas Mass. My dad carried me out to the car, and I kind of woke up, and I looked up, and it was snowing on Christmas Eve. Oh, it's just such a fond memory. And when my husband and I decided to move out to the East Coast, and I told everybody about moving to the East Coast, they were all like, oh, you better like snow. Oh, you better like winters. And I was just like, yeah, I like snow. Yeah, I like winters. And so I was all excited to move to the East Coast and get some real winters or real seasons. That's the other thing. On the West Coast, you don't really experience like true seasons. So living here, I have found I love fall. summer is not a real strong season here. Spring's okay. I kind of like spring. I thought I'd love winter, and not so much so far. It scares me. I'm scared of winter. And, mistake. So 2020, I fall and break my arm. 2021, I tried to be safe, tried to not slip, and I get my fingers crushed in a door. Oops, sorry. If you didn't read or watch the last one, now you know what happened. I am scared. I think I might go out today. I have gone out a couple times this week, even when it's freezing temperatures. I wait until the roads are clear. Yesterday was a bit of a challenge. I had to walk over some snow-covered places and I could see ice under the snow and I was scared. My husband has been great. He gives me his arm and lets me, whenever I'm scared, he helps me. But I'm scared. I'm scared of winter. I got to face my fear. I may not face it. I'm hoping winter's over soon. It feels like it's been a long, cold winter. We have snow. We had snow yesterday. I think we're getting snow tonight, and I think we get snow tomorrow. And I'm ready for it to be done with. I really am. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for gardening. But it is what it is. So, February 27th, 2022 is the date. And I'm here to talk about cross stitch, not about winter. So, let's get started. So first, everything is now all in different order because I've already gone through it. I'm going to try and find the ones I want to talk about in the order. So first, because we're talking about weather and winter, this is my temperature tree. Now, I watched back my video and I noticed the colors didn't show up very well. But when I did one of the videos, that's the colors. So this is February, and the yellows are warm, greens are close to freezing, just a little bit above freezing, blue are below freezing, and this oddball red is super, super cold. And so we only got 2 days left in February, tonight's and tomorrow night's. I tend to do this always right at the end of the day. And so that's my temperature tree, and I am so loving this. So it's been a cold. They've even been saying in the news that it's been a cold February. So let's see my notes. What should I talk about next? I think I'm going to do it in a slightly different order than I did the last one. Mix it up a bit. Maybe that'll make it a little bit more spontaneous. So I'm going to talk about Overcovid next. And the last one, it was so funny because you would have laughed. I talked about how I watched my video and realized that I often talk really fast and I also talk really quiet. Sometimes I can't even understand what I'm saying. And so I was trying to really focus on talking more clearly, talking slower, still keeping it natural, but, make it so that someone can understand me. And then I could see on my little clock that I was running out of time because there was no space in the memory of the phone. And so I started talking faster and faster and faster and faster. And now I can relax. I'm doing the video again. It's all okay. So Overcovid. Overcovid will be here, let me show you what it'll look like when it's done. Because I did prep that. This is what Overcovid would look like when it's done. This is the cove that we have around our small town. And on the opposite side, there is Overcove Road. And thus, I called this Overcovid as a play on words. It is 127,000 stitches, I believe. I have 3,828 stitches left to do, and I still have my today's stitches to do. I am going to open this up and do a big reveal when it's done. It is going to be close next video, but probably not quite there. The one after that, it'll definitely be done. It's going to be done by March 21st. So this is Overcovid. So right now there is, this is a road, a pavement. That's the bottom of a boat. This is sort of the shoreline. This is all the seaweed of the shore. This is the grasses that are along the shore, some rocks. This is a big, huge black rock here, and I think there's going to be a tiny bit of road left there. So I'm in a lot of really dark stuff, but finding it a bit of a grind. I did have mistakes in this. I had some mistakes last time in around this area and in around this area. I have now gotten past those, so that's good. It didn't make a difference. It really didn't. But you still, if you're fudging, you got to figure it out so you get back on track. It's been a bit of a grind because there's not a lot popping out of this, you know, and it's near the end. My husband can't understand, why is it so hard to stitch on when you're so close to the finish? Well, one, you're so close to the finish, it's like you still got to get it done, but it's like starting something new is a lot more exciting. And number two, right now, there's nothing exciting going to come out of this. I mean, there might be, like I said, a tiny bit of road coming back in here, but it's mostly what I'm doing right now, all in here. But to revive myself, I started patterns. So last time I was stitching down. This time I did a bit stitching across or bringing it down like that. I probably will now just work like just kind of closing the circle like that. Just whatever. Just get it through. Just get my stitches done. And the other thing I did was I always stitch up here in this room. And I was starting not wanting to come here to stitch. And so I've been also stitching downstairs in our living room. And so I have now decided to stitch there for a little bit. I might come back up to the room. It's kind of cold in the room too. We have insulation issues, and when the wind blows, which it does a lot here, it can get pretty chilly. Like it's pretty chilly here right now, but that's okay. So I'm gonna take this, just do what I need to do to get it done. So right now I'm taking it downstairs. I got an audiobook I'm listening to, the Wheel of Time series. I think I've gotten as far as, I got all the books, or at least 10 or 11. And I think I've only got through book 5 or book, so, and every time I get so far, then I get distracted. I go back to the beginning. So I've listened to the first 2 or 3 books probably 2 or 3 times. So I think I'm on the 3rd or 4th book right now. So I know what's going to happen, but it's a good thing to listen to while I'm stitching. So I enjoy that. So that had little mistakes. They really didn't make a difference. I needed to get them back on track just so it's easier for me and not bugging me when there's supposed to be 2 spaces and there's only 1 space or whatever. It's all good. Okay, so that's Overcovid. Next that I'm going to talk about is, I'm going to show, it's been cold, mostly been snowing. We had 1 day of rain. Before I videotaped last time, I was talking about the rain was coming. And it was supposed to be a really big soaker. I think there was some flooding issues. There's some roads that were closed. Wasn't too bad on us. We had 1 day that was really cool. The tide was high. The winds were blowing. When we get rain, it's usually a southwest wind. And so we went out for a drive and we could see the waves crashing over. There was rocks and logs on the roads because just the way the waves crashed, the high tide wind and the rain. And it was wild. It was really, really neat. But having said that, I only actually stitched 1 day on my river. So this is my rainy day project. This is Modern Folk Embroidery, The River. This was part of Black Needle Society's November box. It came with the floss too, also, which the floss is by, I couldn't remember it last video, Forbidden Fiber Co. Company. Oh, I'm such a goof. Forbidden Fiber, you know what I'm trying to say. And the floss was called River of Life. So I did some changes. I tell this every time just in case there's new people. Instead of this row of numbers, I decided to put in the birth year of myself, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, and my great-great-great-grandmother. And so that's what's on this row right here from 1802, 1802, 1826, 1863, 1903, 1936, 1964. Not talking fast at all. What's interesting is the amount of years, or the way the years, the pattern. So 1802, 1826, there goes my book. 1863, 1903. So 1903 is 101 years after 1802. 1826 and 1936, 100 years apart. And then 1863 and 1964, 101 years apart. Isn't that interesting? I found that fascinating when I saw that. So I think it's really cool. This is River of Life, and I like it. I didn't know where to go with that. Stitching this on 18 count. By the way, I am horrible at saying what I'm stitching on and what type of stitching. Let's see if we can get a bit better. By Fiberlicious, Golden Amber, 18 count, 1/1. Yeah. And I noticed in the last video too, when I talked about the fabric, I made some kind of funny sound or something. What I was trying to express was how much of a joy it was to stitch on 18 count or on Aida after stitching on a linen. I really enjoy when I come back to Aida. So I go back and forth, but it's fun, especially with a sampler. As I have other samplers where it's linen and it's hard to count and etc. It's weird when you go back and forth too. Sorry, I just got to go down and get some book down here. It's got my notes, and God, I'd be a mess without that. In other words, I am a mess anyways. And I dropped a bunch of other stuff too, so I had to go down and get that also. Okay. Oh, so much better the second time around, I tell ya. Okay, so I've talked about temperature tree. Check. I talked about Overcovid. Check. I talked about the river. My mistake with that was I wasn't able to remember the floss. Remembered that. Check. Next, let's talk about my project that I'm doing for my aunt. So this is Blackbird Designs, Dear Daughter. And I'll just bring it a little bit closer. And I'm going to do this for my aunt, and I'm going to change the initials obviously up here. I'm changing all the colors. This is not going to be black. I think it looks like an urn. It's supposed to be a pot. So I'm going to change that. It's going to be probably more blue or purple. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to finish everything else except for this and the words. I'm going to change the words. So instead of Dear Daughter of Mine, it's going to be Dearest Aunt of Mine. So I believe it's going to work just fine. I got to chart it out to make sure it's going to fit. The mistakes I wanted to talk about is, you can barely see it, and I'm not going to show you the pattern, but all these brown little lines are usually 5 stitches. And there's one right here that's actually 6 stitches. I had done everything else and was coming down believing they were all 5 stitches. And I got all the way down here and started going along here. And suddenly I looked at the pattern. I'm like, that one looks long. And it was a 6, 5, 5, and a 4. And I'd seen the 4 and I kind of thought, well, that's odd. Why would they have a 4? But maybe it's just way. Luckily I caught it before I put the flowers in or before leaves in or whatever. And I didn't get too far along here. And so I ripped it up. That was lost hour. And did it right, did the 6. And I think the reason why is because of this really tall flower. I think it's to make space for the leaf or something. That's what I believe it is. So it's something to be aware of. It's tricky when a pattern on a border, in this case, is all the exact same except for just one. And that's out of, I keep dropping things. 1 out of about, and it happened to be just at the end with the way that I had done it. But so this is how much I've done. So I've finished the border correctly. And I'm working now on up here. You can barely see. There is these yellow things. I don't know if they're not really snowflakes. Maybe they're like pollen or dandelion fluffs or just patterns. I've been a bit creative on my butterflies. I had a mistake. I did one butterfly. He's up 1 stitch too high, and then I did his tail according to it's the right spot, so he's a little longer. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. It's all worked out. So far, the main thing is my landmarks. That was a mistake with a landmark I already had, and everything else is going to be correct, hopefully. But it's coming along. So I have to have this finished before March 30th. I fly out on March 30th. I am going to have this done before my next Flosstube. I'm going to make it into a pillow because I don't know how much wall space she has. And so I thought a pillow, they could prop it up or whatever. So and it's functional. And so that's what I think I'm going to do. I hope to have this fully finished by next video. I think I can. So that, it is a beautiful stitch. Beware that my colors are not the same. These are Gentle Art sampler threads. I'm sort of just picking what I want as I go. And I think I didn't finish my train of thought. I don't like how dark this is, and so I'm going to change that. And so what I'm going to do is, because I can't decide, I spent some time today looking at some of the colors, and I got an idea. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do everything but this and but the words. So I'm going to do, that's my next goal, is to just get everything done except for the words and the pot. And then those I have to rechart, and I'll also get my colors then. And I might do the words down. I might do these in 2 different colors, even though they're charted for the same, or I do them in the same. So I'm looking at a dark purple or a dark blue right now. So we'll see. And then I would do maybe a light blue instead of pink for the background. But that's to come, and you'll see that. Hope you will see that next Flosstube as a fully finished. Okay. Next is, showed this to you last month. It's pretty much exactly the same place it was last month. This is Stitch in My Stash, which was a primitive hair design. Stitching is Dreaming. I was doing this for Colorado Cross Stitch February camp. You were supposed to start and finish it in the month. Things got in the way. This will not be finished for February, and so it has now gone into the back of the cupboard. You will not see this again until I actually finish it, and so it is going away. I did not do that. I had more important things to do. One of the things that the next 2 are the things that took up most of my time. So right before last video, and these both have serious mistakes in them. I'm going to just get my computer up here just to show. Let's see if I can find this. Etsy. It's easy on my phone. It's always there. Etsy. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's just do that. Etsy Canada, sure. Excuse me while I just find something. Could have been a little bit more prepared, maybe. Yeah, probably. Okay. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay. That's nice. I guess it's getting remembered. Okay. So, this is Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions on Etsy. And it is a pattern. The one I'm doing is, it's band sampler on a side, and one band will be specialty stitches and one band is cross stitches and back and forth. Oh, I just unplugged that. That's not good. Okay, we'll put that aside for right now. Okay, So, as I said on the last video, sorry, I just realized what that's going to look like on the video, and I'm not editing. And sometimes I just, yeah, oh well, it is what it is. I am what I am. Okay, last video I mentioned that Julie of Stitching at the Cabin was doing this as a birthday start, and she said if anybody had it, she'd love the company of them stitching along while she was doing it. So I decided to purposely save this for a stitch-along stitch-a-thon, getting it done on the day. So I had it was about 2,000 cross stitches. So I actually did part before her birthday, and then I did finish it off on her birthday. And so I was working on this band right here, and before her birthday, I made the major mistake actually last band. So it's really important, anybody doing this band sampler, to pay really critical attention to the tops when you start the band. So what my error was is, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, I will try, is there's these little flared out stitches It's not going to focus. It's not going to focus. Sorry. They're I think they're called half rays or some kind of ray. And I was supposed to do some at the very top here and I didn't. And so when I started my thing, I was actually off 2 stitches. So this whole row is off 2 stitches. So when I realized it when I got to the bottom, because I wasn't actually able to finish the pattern. So I actually was short. I didn't put in 30 stitches that were on Pattern Keeper. I had to match the next one just as is, but now I'm off 2 stitches and I'm afraid that this corner that's at the opposite corner, that there won't be enough room for the pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the next band has a row of stitches that are 2 stitches that go down on the diagonal. It's 2 stitches. It's like a square that's all on a diagonal. I'm going to do 2 of those. That will be my extra 2 stitches. Now, everything on this is always symmetrical. So what you do on one side goes to the center and then it's on the opposite side. This won't be. This will be 2 of a band thing and then the whole thing and then only 1. And that's okay because it's personalized. It's my way. There probably is something else I could have done. Maybe a single, which I might, maybe just a single row of X's going down on one side, then the band, and then another single row of X's going down the other side. That would be 2 stitches. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. So either way, I'll get it back on track. And I guess the only way for me to really know if I'm on track is actually to sit and count, because on the PDF, it does obviously show you the count and what stitch number I'm supposed to be on. But I think I'll just try to add the 2 stitches some way, like the way I just discovered, and then see how it goes. So that was a mistake, but I was very disappointed when I figured it out at the bottom of this. Like, I figured this out the night before I was going to do my stitch-a-thon with Julie. And I was so upset, I almost just put it away. I was almost like, there was no way I could pull out what I'd done. I just finished 1,000 stitches. And I was short on that thread. I would have actually had to grab a new color, a different color. And I was just, that couldn't happen. I couldn't do that. And so I was like, I was so tempted the next day to not even stitch it. And then I kind of put it aside. And then I thought about it. And I thought about, you have to face your mistakes. They don't go away or get any better. You got to get them done. So it's best just to pick it up again, stitch what I could, figure it out. And as I was stitching the other one, I figured it out like, oh, I just need to add another row of 2 stitches. I can do this. I can figure it out. So I think that's my little logic is face your mistakes. Don't put them in timeout, because that's the worst thing is that when they're in timeout and then you go pick them up again and you have no idea where the mistake is or whatever. So that's my PSA. Okay, enough of that. Okay, so next is what I've spent most of this month on. And always at the end of the month, I'm working on Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. And this is by Carriage House Sampling. And so I started in this block here. This is 1. And then I decided to go all the way around counterclockwise. So I'm doing block 1, block 5, block 9, 10, and 11. So I just finished 11. And then this is 12. And I don't know if all the Hawk Run Hollow designs like this, because there's a whole bunch. There's a year at Hawk Run Hollow, Houses of Hawk Run Hollow, Shoreline of Hawk Run Hollow. There's a bunch. I think there's about 7 or 8 or 9, something like that. I don't know if, because I know a year at Hawk Run Hollow, the final square is also full coverage. This one is full coverage. And so it's going to be a bit of work. These are 90 by 90. They're 92 X's across, but it makes the block 90 by 90. So that's a little over 8,000, 8,100 or 8,100 stitches in the block. So that's a bit to get done. But like I said, I'm going away to Stitch North at the end of the month, and that's when I'm going to visit my aunt before the actual stitching retreat. So I'm thinking I'm going to take this with me. There's no way I'm going to get 8,000 stitches done in a weekend. I won't run out of something to stitch. I am going to try and just take one project and work on that and get that done. So full coverage, that's coming up. But what I just finished was block 11. So I'm going to show you right now what I've done completely. So sorry for the non-ironing. I used to iron when I was good. So far, my favorite 2 blocks have been these last 2 blocks. I'm going to give you a close-up of them, just because I think they're great. So that was block 10, which I finished last month, and then block 11. Now we'll just do a little bit more close-up of block 11, and I'll talk a little bit about it. This is a lot easier folding this up. So here's block 11. I did a mistake. I can see the mistake. Can you see the mistake? It's pretty obvious. I was 1 stitch off right in there. I decided to get it back on track, so to speak, because see, there's a track. But it just, the wall, I ended up doing, it's on linen, and this is on 36 count denim days. 36 count denim days by Dixie Sampler Hand Dyed Fabrics. I got this from somebody's D-stash, Michelle Bendy's. And so like I said, I just got off 1 stitch and I realized it and then just brought it back the 1 stitch. So we have this little bulge of the wall. There's bulges in walls. It can happen. A wall wouldn't be completely smooth, but isn't that gorgeous? Look at it. Look at the way the tracks come out, just the styling of it. And this whole wall. And one thing I like is this over here. They're supposed to be grass. They kind of look like coral, but they're supposed to be grass. That was leftover floss from a kit. And I still got lots because I barely used any, but that is stitching my stash. So that made me super happy. So that is block 11 and I love it. I think it's great. I'm hoping this is my screen grab, but they don't tend to take screen grabs from way late in the video, but that is block 11, Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Okay, so that is my stitching. It was a good month of stitching. Most of my time was spent on those last 2 projects. So, anything else? Let's see. No, that's it. So, next, I got some haul. I think I'll show you the haul first. And then I got some Stitchy Kindness. Okay, so as you may recall, and I've said quite a few times, I was strongly influenced by, I watched a lot of Stitching at the Cabin, and I actually binged watched over, probably it took me 8 months. I found them, I think spring last year-ish. Somebody shouted them out and I went and found them. And I decided to go back to their very first video. And I watched all their videos and got caught up. I think just last fall, I got caught up to, I'm now at present day. It was weird because it was such a goal to watch all their videos and get caught up to present date that when I did it, I was kind of like at a little bit of a loss. Like, oh, what do I do now? And now their videos seem so long apart. And it's like, oh, I want to watch their videos. Funny thing about binge watching somebody is you end up being really influenced. You watch all their projects going from start to finish. When I watched their whip parades, it really wasn't a whip parade because I just finished watching all of those videos. So it didn't have the same impact. But I ended up 1, 2, 3 stitch, putting 3 items in my cart, and they had a sale on one of the items, so I pressed yes for all 3, and I just got them, even though I'm on a spending freeze, but I just got them. So anyone who watches Stitching at Cabin is going to recognize all 3 of these because Julie has all 3 of these. 2 of them she's worked on, 1 she still has to start. First is Chatelaine Herbalarius. Yes, I could have bought any chatelaine. Yes, I looked at other chatelaines, but I chose Herbalarius, which is hard to say and hard to remember how to spell, but this is Herbalarius. There we go. So it does scare me. I've looked through the instructions. It's confusing. I read a bit of instructions all the time, and I'm gonna, I'll take on the challenge. It might take me a little while, but I will take on the challenge. So that was 1. I don't have fabric big enough for it. So right now I'm just trying to kit it up, trying to get everything and the fabric. So hopefully at Stitch North, I'll be able to get some fabrics. We'll see. Next is another one. I believe Julie finished this one. It was gorgeous when she was doing it. I really loved it. I fell in love with it. So this is Rosewood Manor, Language of the Flowers. And I actually looked quite a few places like on Rosewood. It took me a while to find it, but anyways, I did find it. So I am very excited to do this. And again, I don't have a fabric that's going to fit it. So right now I'm trying to kit it up. I'm just trying to get the flosses. And I think I'll probably do some substitutions with the Gentle Arts in some of the flower colors. Right now I'm just trying to get the DMCs, and then I'm going to look at what is missing and see if I can find something that works for me in the Gentle Arts. One thing that is really cool about this booklet, I like the way they've designed the booklet. I like the way they've laid out the charts. I did not know they gave 10 mini additional charts in here. A bookmark and some smalls, and that's awesome. I was such a pleasant surprise. Rosewood Manor may be my new favorite. We'll see. Next is one that Julie hasn't started. I sent her an email showing her all 3 things. She got a kick out of that, I think. And so this is the next one. And she said when she hasn't started it, that when I start it, we're going to do it stitch along. Same goes for her. If she starts it before I'm ready to start, we can do a stitch along. So this is Glendon Place Poltergeist Pirates. And it has some beads or buttons. I'm not sure what you would call them. Like these skulls are all like buttons, and there's rats in here that are buttons also. I can't see any one right now, but there are. And the sea star right there is a button or bead. When is it a bead? When is it a button? I wonder if they say whether it's bead or button. It's a button. They call it just another button company. They're buttons. Okay. Learn something new. So I wasn't going to buy the buttons right away because it's another thing to order. And looking through this pattern again, oh my gosh, this is such a big pattern. It's in such big print. It's going to be a pleasure to stitch out of this booklet. It's going to be real easy. And then I was thinking, I was looking at the rat. They just had the tail because you're supposed to put the button in the front. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can design my own rat. And then I looked at the back and they have little box inserts to substitute if you want to stitch the skulls or the rats. They didn't have one for the sea star, but that's fine. But they had the actual stitching. So it's not in the main pattern, but you just have to go to the box and just figure that out. So you can leave the blank and then just fill it in. So great. I'm really impressed. These are nice productions. So those were my haul. And then I got this sort of connected. I got Stitchy Kindness. And this was really, really wonderful. It's from a viewer. And her name is Marguerite. Sorry, Margaret, if I'm mispronouncing. Might pronounce it both ways. And she's in Luxembourg. And she said she had picked this stuff up at a thrift store. And when she saw me showing some stitch bows, that she wondered if I would like this. And I said, yeah. So she sent it to me. It was far more than anything I expected. Comes in a travel case. It's a zip-up binder. There's zippers on both sides. This is all DMC. This is made by DMC. It's got the DMC logo there. It's got an outside pocket. And inside, now when I did this before, I had everything falling out. But let's see if I can do this a little bit more coordinated this time. Learn from your mistakes, you know? Inside, like I said, it's a binder. And there's a binder. And then you have the pages. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the project name, so that says Poltergeist Pirates, and then collecting my DMC and putting it in here and getting it kitted up. So my idea is that this is sort of my kitting up thing, and then when I work on the project, I just come and remove the sheets and put those in my project bag and work with the pattern and the stitch bows. So also included in here were a bunch of stitch bows, and also they call these inserts, a whole bunch of inserts, which I found out searching online, these are actually quite expensive, like compared to bobbins. So these hold 15 stitch bows in them, and I think each one of these is like $1 or $2, which doesn't seem like much, but can add up. If, like, I was at one point thinking, oh, maybe I'll do my whole inventory all in this, but I think right now I'm going to just do kitting up in this. So this is going to be my kitted up. So that's my plan. And she included, so right now I'm kitting up the three I just showed you, Poltergeist Pirates, Language of Flowers, and Herbalarius. And I'm also kitting up this one, which I want to get to soon, but I got to find the DMC. So this is Teresa Winslet. I got this at a local needle shop in Nanaimo. It was part of somebody's stash. So I'm just working at kitting this up, and I don't seem to have any of the flosses, so I may just buy some. It might be just easiest in the end to go to Michael's. I got a $50 gift certificate for a Christmas present from my mom, and so maybe I'll just go to Michael's and just pick up the skeins and kit her up. So and on top of that whole thing, as if that wasn't enough, she also included some patterns. And so one of them, is this the one? Nope. Don't know where the one, oh, here it is. One of them is kind of neat. I mean, it's just got a mini, it's This is by DMC, and it's got actually a bit of a color chart on the back. Obviously it's not a full color chart, but it's just kind of nice. So that's kind of cool. I like that. So I'm keeping that. She told me I could keep what I wanted and pass on what I don't want. So I'm still, there's still some things, well, some things I know I definitely don't want. There's one that's kind of like, I'm not sure. This one I'm definitely keeping, and this is really lovely. It's a Kathy Barrick. Look at that. Peace on Earth, and it's an owl. That's awesome. So that one I will be stitching. And these others, I was thinking of passing on and seeing if anybody would like them. So I'm going to do them in 2 separate videos. Just see how this one goes first. So this one is a leaflet, and it's got the pattern in here. It is by Stitch World Cross Stitch, I believe. Designed by Sandra Paradise, Choir of Angels. It is on 14 count, it's 16 by 20. Do they give the stitch count? I don't see the stitch count. Yeah, the whole thing's pretty big. It's like a big, huge thingy thing, like so, like this. Oops, with a slight tear in it. So that's not the pattern. That's actually the instructions, but the pattern's on the flip side. So that gives you an idea of the styling. And then the booklet here has some other stuff. I think it has, yeah, some other stuff. So it's really quite neat. So if you see, it's all the letters. So there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It's just all the letters with angels in them. And like I said, on the very top here, it says frame size shown 21 inches by 25 inches. Frame size without mat 16 by 20. That's on 14 count. 16 by 20 without 14 count. So that's what it ended up being. So if anybody is interested in it, just, don't say giveaway. Be 18 or over so I can ask for your address. And just say angel. Angel. Choir of Angels. And if you have a hard time spelling angels, put choir. Either one. I'll search for both. I'd love to give it away. I'd love to pass it on to somebody who would appreciate it. I appreciate it for the letters. I just know I'm not going to actually stitch it. And thank you, Margaret. They're wonderful. There is such a lovely gift. I was really overwhelmed. So I think that's it for me. I'm just looking around. So plans coming up. I'm going to finish my ants project. That's for sure. I'm going to maybe brave walking every once in a while. See, nothing coming up in our lives. We're possibly going to go on a couple of little mini road trips. But mostly it's just going to be stitching and get my ants project done and get back on work on other things. Get ready for Stitch North. Just enjoy life. That's what I plan. That's my plan. So I am going to say goodbye. So take care, everyone. Happy stitching and keep on stitching on. Bye.